Good morning. I'm at my Noah Road food bank. One of my earlier ones. You can see it's been there for a while, but yeah, it's definitely gonna have to lean on that this month. So being the middle of November, it's getting pretty close to my time for leaving. I noticed somebody who owns property close to where I'm camping put some fresh no trespassing signs, because ATV people cross over his property. They use his property and he's tired of it, I guess. But he is definitely getting pretty close to where I'm camping. And I don't think he owns the property. There is no signs that have been posted. So I think I might be safe, and I hope I am. But regardless, I don't think I can stay here just forever and ever. Sooner or later, I'm going to have to move on, at least I think. I have to go down next month and put some, I plan on putting some boots in my storage unit for next spring and summer. By the way, I think the best bang for the buck, they're around 100 to 110 usually, is these Timberland boots, that particular brand there. And I don't like Dunham Sports, but that's where I get them. I'm sure you can get them online for probably 80 bucks, or, you know, you're going to get them less than Dunham Sports, that's for sure. I get them at Dunham Sports because I just can't. I don't have a credit card or nothing. And I don't trust online shopping, and plus I don't have an address. So, well, anyways, I'm just staying in touch. And I finally, I've gotten away from regular training. I haven't trained in 2 weeks, maybe 15 days, maybe 16, outside of a few push-ups and stuff here and there. But yeah, I needed to stop. I think I have lost some sharpness in my muscles, and I'm still actually kind of recovering. Not eating as much, thank goodness. I was really getting a little overboard with my eating, because I was eating foods to gain as much muscle as I can so I can prepare for the road ahead. Alright, whoever that guy is who's close to where I'm at, I don't think he owns the property where I'm actually at, but boy, he's getting close. So I think Noah Roads, I think is being very gentle with me and giving me the time I need to adjust to, for my departure. I mean, it's going to take some adjusting because I've been here for so long. And I am still in spiritual transition, although I think the airplane is out of the hangar. It's been recalibrated, figuratively speaking, of course, for higher levels of enlightenment. And it is close to the runway, and I am ready for, I guess, takeoff. I have been back into my spiritual studies, and the energy of my recent reality, which I have which has been maintained, which I maintained for probably about 18 months, really. It was a reality that I maintained for about 18 months. And the last month and a half or so, the energy of that reality was breaking down, and I was in spiritual transition. The spiritual transition has pretty much run its course, and I think I've been recalibrated for the journey that lies ahead. And we can never truly arrive at enlightenment, because enlightenment means to know, and you never stop learning, you never stop growing, you never stop the process of becoming more and more enlightened. So we can't arrive and have union with enlightenment. But what we can do is get to a place of plateaus of enlightenment. You know, we can get there, and we can rest on the spiritual summits for a while, and we can maintain the that reality for a while until we outgrow it, and life prods us on, and God puts us back into the forge, and hopefully we are better equipped, better prepared to survive the heat, better than we would have under the same circumstances the previous year. Well, all I know is I probably know less than I thought. I know that I want to arrive at a place where I am remarkably calm in the face of an uncertain future, with winter approaching, and be grateful for what I have had. And I want to build a robust relationship with my Creator and my spiritual path, in the spiritual lane that I'm in, early on, before the crisis happens. So that's what I have been doing. Even when I wasn't realizing it, I've always been mulling things over. There's been times where I wasn't so deeply connected to the spiritual process. I needed to let go for a while. And I did. While that was happening, I had the primary focus of my reality, or I made my physical health the primary focus of my reality during that time. And though I became a little slow and rusty, and I did to some degree neglect my spiritual studies, it was a necessary process of my own personal evolution on my way to higher levels of enlightenment, or higher plateaus of enlightenment. So I have to learn to adjust to be remarkably calm no matter what the outside forces are. I suggest other people do the same as well. Make that the primary focus of your reality. We'll all spend durations of time in and out of that light, you know. But the goal is to spend longer durations of time in the light and on the spiritual summits, as we raise our consciousness to those higher levels of enlightenment that have the privilege to rest on those spiritual summits. So anyway, good morning. And at the present moment, it is early, before the crisis hits. Because on the horizontal level, on the horizontal plane that we live on, it's inevitable that crisis will come. So what we do is we rise up early. We rise early. And make a robust relationship with our Creator before those crises hits, before we are, I guess you could say, before somebody takes legal action against me because I have a tent on their property, or I go through something unpleasant like that. I can stay calm in the midst of any triggers, any storm, and so forth. Whatever happens, whether it's a bad health diagnosis, an unpleasant encounter with authority figures or unpleasant people, or I come back to my camp, whether here or whether in the future somewhere, and it's been vandalized, or I've been some way victimized, or an authority figure is maybe leaning over the boundaries of what they should be permitted to lean over as far as my rights are concerned, or whatever. Those are just triggers. They're outside forces that trigger something that's dormant inside of me. What reveals my character is how I either react, or how I thoughtfully respond, or even peaceably resolve, or stay in a place of being remarkably calm. No matter what, I want to be remarkably calm. And I want to know that treasures are never left out in the open. They're hidden in places that are difficult. And I know that all reality that just appears to be nature, appears to be random, appear to be all coincidence, is all of it is a miracle that's wearing the robes of a rational explanation. So no matter what the outcome, it's the best possible outcome available to me based on my free will and interacting with other free wills in a world that appears to be in reality, and based on the level of my soul, the level of my enlightenment or lack thereof, and my past merits or demerits. Okay, so I have to understand that every crisis has a potential promotion. Like the globalists say, never let a good crisis go to waste. Well, a godly person can say the same thing. They just relate to it in a different way. I believe, or I trust, that everything is a miracle wearing the robes of a rational explanation, including unpleasant encounters with perhaps authorities, or litigious, grouchy, paranoid, angry landowners, or the jerk down the street, or the cashier who's having a bad day and makes me feel a little bit bad, or people whose anger has grown into a wall of fire that nothing penetrates, and they can't get out of it, and I can't go in behind it to help them repair. So sometimes I just have to say, it's not the person to share my thoughts with at this point, especially if I'm hoping that they're gonna respond in some prescribed way that's gonna make me feel better. It's also a time to learn to pray without motivation. Words, all words, they start out good, but ultimately they grow into motivations. They have motivation. And I want to get to where I have more, I grow, I guess, in level. I raise my consciousness to the higher levels of enlightenment where I can achieve a contemplative prayer habit, where I can be a practitioner of contemplative prayer. There we go. Because I don't want to have motives. I don't want to expect God, through my prayers and through my obedience or whatever, to change my circumstance. I want God to change me from within, no matter what the circumstance or no matter what the encounter. I definitely don't want to have an egoic reaction to encounters, or if I have an unpleasant encounter with authorities, I don't want to be triggered into behaving like with a consciousness that is very common with blue, woke, Antifa types that are really just cannon fodder for the Agenda 2030 groups that are deep think tanks that, you know, kind of create all the bandwagons, whether to the left or whether to the right, and create the alphabet communities that are designed to, I guess you could say, groom and gaslight society, you know? And that's the one thing that I don't want to expand my consciousness to include, is anybody that I know is being used or active, you know, being used by the Agenda 2030 Illuminati globalist think tank types, you know, who people that are used by them as groomers and gaslighters of society, you know, communistic, you know, Agenda 2030 type stuff. I can smell that stuff, you know, a mile away. And those kind of people, I mean, I'm not talking about including those people in my light. Those people don't belong in my reality. And if I start to react that way, then I know I've gone off the path. Because it is easy to react that way. The world it's got those kind of triggers in it. But if you react that way, the problem is really you. All right. I know this is rambling. This is just my own personal video diary. I'm not telling anyone what to think. I'm simply relating how I feel right now. I hope I can make I can contribute a small note to the divine song, which I believe can translate into a language that others may be able to understand. But if not, this is my journey, you know. I don't want to pretend that I'm telling anyone what to do, you know. But I do think that this is the right direction. I will say that much. This is the way I say it. Other people should be able to find some sort of way to peaceably resolve whatever it is that's lying dormant inside of them that is being triggered by outside forces. You know, I think everybody should probably work on that while they have a chance, while it's early, before the crisis or the triggering effects of an outside force happen. Alrighty. Well, I should probably cut the video. It's getting kind of long. All right, from St. Mary's, PA. I think the energy of my reality that I was maintaining for about 18 months, I think, has fully broken down, and I have gone through my spiritual transition. And right now I'm just kind of I'm at that point of recovering from that month and a half or 2 months spiritual transition. And I'm a little bit, what do they call that? I have a little trepidation. I'm a little bit anxious. I mean, I have a little anguish, like, can I hold up, you know, to these outside forces? You know, am I going to be able to put my money where my mouth is? You know, because when it gets, you know, rough, when it gets really cold out there, you know, this is that's when the rubber meets the road. So yes, but every test is an opportunity for a promotion. You know, every unpleasant experience is an opportunity for a promotion. You know, and when you can become enlightened in such a way that you are remarkably calm, and you do not have, you've taken the emotional charge, or I should say you've resolved, the word taken is too much of an action. It has to be resolved. Everything is resolution. So you peaceably resolve the emotional charge that is lying dormant inside of each one of us over particular issues, such as, whether it's politics or pro-life or pro-choice or, or religion, whatever those are. You got to take the emotional charge, or just peaceably resolve the emotional charge. So every time there is a crisis or every time there's an unpleasant situation, we have a potential for a promotion in our spiritual path. If we don't have a spiritual path, what's the promotion? Then we could be used by God as spoons and forks and tables and chairs and roofs and rides and dollars or whatever, for people that are on the spiritual path, because God uses people that are atheists just as much as he uses people that are spiritual. If you want to be an atheist, well then fine. You are not connected to the hard drive. You are downloaded and stuck here, and God will use you accordingly. So if somebody's an atheist, they can be my spoon and my fork and my ride and my, whatever. And they could be a good person based on the logic of their own mind. There's nothing wrong with that. They don't need to read the Bible. They don't need to have a spiritual, path to do things that are good. Okay, God instilled that in the human being. Just because somebody doesn't believe in God and doesn't have a spiritual path doesn't mean they want to tear into you like a lion would. Okay, so you can do good things. The problem is you've downloaded yourself and anchored yourself to base material reality. And that's where you're going to stay. And when this base material reality gets stuck, that's where you have been dissolved to. You'll dissolve along with it. And you won't be there. You won't survive the energetic shift that brings about the true change. The true new age, which is on its way after the final conflict between evil and good. So the time is now, while it's still early. And I tell you, that word early is pretty subjective. In the big scheme of things, we are not early. Okay? I mean, that's subjective to you. But while it's early, using that word, early, before the crisis hits, you better work on your relationship with God and make it robust and healthy as much as possible before the crisis hits. Okay, so I'll leave it there. Noah Road. Over now for now.